Hello, Serge here from the back porch. We have a question today that starts off first with, I guess, a statement, and I think it's a pretty good statement of a background of our probably very much a typical member on the SwingSurgeon.com website. And this letter comes from John Cullerton, and I think I'm going to read it, his experience, paraphrase something because it's a really long letter, and he ends up with a really good question. And so that's why we'll cover both parts. Well, John starts out by saying, for some time now I have been intending to write to you to basically thank you. I'm glad now that I took my time to write to you because I now have another reason. The question he's going to ask me. But first, my thank you. Like you, I've had heart surgery 4 years ago and had the aortic valve replaced and a triple bypass. And like you, both my cardiologist and cardiac surgeon commented on how significant my good physical condition was to the success of the surgery and my speedy recovery. Again, it's a public service announcement there about let's all get fit and stay fit. Hopefully, and that will mean that, like John and I, you won't have to end up with a cardiac surgery. But again, and I know that definitely in my case, it's bad genes for cholesterol. But getting back to John's letter, I have been using my version of golf as a means for staying in shape. Pretty well walking the golf course every day, pushing my golf cart, but not doing too well at golf. In fact, I had expectations of having to live a very, very, very long time in order to shoot my age. Last season, I walked the course 168 times, and this past winter, I've walked so far 533 miles. Obviously, I like keeping records, but it helps to keep me motivated. He says, but later on, he says, in the middle of last summer, I came across your program, and since then, my golf is taking on a new meaning, and now I can't expect to shoot my age when I'm in my 80s. He said later on in this letter that he was 76 at the time. So it sounds like he's getting better quite quickly. He goes on to say, now because of you, that has changed, and I no longer have to put my body through the various contortions advocated by many experts, so I thank you. The second reason to write to you is a recent video clip showing the importance of maintaining posture for downhill lies and how to achieve it. If I consider your clip had to do with the hitting across the slope of a hill, then my question and one area that gives me the most difficulty is how do you set up to hit the ball in the direction of the slope? I seem to do okay when hitting up the slope, that would be an uphill lie, but I cannot for the life of me do well when hitting down the slope. Can you give a clip for that? Thank you, Don, for putting so much pleasure into my game. And may you maintain your great health and wonderful spirit for a long, long time. Again, from John Cullerton. We all hope to maintain our spirits, but that's a good question. Uphill lies, for the most part, are a lot easier than downhill lies, but they both pose a different problem. Naturally, because of an uphill lie, when you swing, your weight will tend to fall backwards, okay? And so you have to factor that in. So you have to figure out what the amount of slope you have and the club you're hitting, like how can you get into your posture and maintain it. You have to put yourself up here where your shoulders match the slope, okay? Now, the same thing happens the other way. So with a downhill lie, those are a lot more difficult. I think they're really difficult, especially if you have to hit somewhat uphill. So from a downhill lie to an uphill green, that's a very difficult shot. Because downhill lies, you're swinging, so to speak, where you're de-lofting the club. We in many cases have to take more loft to be able to get the ball airborne, and in many cases you cannot hit it anywhere near as far as you can an uphill lie. But basically the same tenets happen and come into being or into play as the uphill lie. You have to number one, when you set up, you can pretty much figure that you're going to need more lofted club. You're going to have to play the ball farther back in your stance to hit it sooner, because if you hit it too late, if you got it too far forward, you hit it too late, you'll just possibly top the ball or just scull it into the ground. So you have to find, you're going to be playing it quite far back in your stance, and you need loft. In many cases, you probably can't reach the green if you're far enough from the green, especially if you have an uphill green. Now, a downhill lie to a downhill green, in other words, the green is at the bottom of a valley or something, and you didn't make it all the way down the hill, those shots are reasonably doable because of the fact that you're going from high to low. But again, as I said, from the downhill lie to an uphill green, that's tough. So the first thing you're going to do is take your stance, take your practice swings, figure out where you're going to bottom out. Again, shoulders have to be as much as you can to the slope. So your shoulders and your hips and your knees, you'll probably have more bend in your front knee than you will in your back knee. And going to have your hands considerably more ahead of the ball than normal because the ball is going to be way back. And from there, the swing is going to be very vertical. You're going to have to come up and come pretty much straight down. And again, there's how much can you follow through? That's what you got to try to figure out in your practice swing. Do you have to cut it off here, or if you try to come up, you'll very likely, even with this lie, it'll likely push you backwards. So you have to factor all of those things that are going to happen in that swing to know what to expect, and then therefore what to do to hit a successful golf shot. So simply put, line up with the slope, shoulders, hips, and knees. Most likely your forward knee will be a lot more bent than the back knee. Ball's kind of far back, and the swing becomes very vertical. And in many cases, I think you very likely would hit the ball and hit it and go through, and you probably walk a little forward. So be prepared for that. So again, set up with the slope, ball back, and make your practice swing so you know what to expect, what's coming when you hit the shot. You'll likely be swinging and walking forward after the impact. Well, that's what I think are the simplest the things to think about, and the setup things you have to do to hit a good shot from a downhill lie. All right, from the back porch, that's it for the search for today, and I'll be talking to y'all again soon.